Hello, guys. Sorry, I can't tell if my screen is just frozen or if the Screencastify is frozen. Okay, just a little bit of a review. You know, I like to give you a review of what we talked about right before your comprehension questions on the quiz. So, step one, you're going to watch this video. I guess you've read that if you are listening to me now. And step two, you're going to read or use Google Read and Write in order to hear the question at the top, then drag and drop the yellow arrow so it is pointing at the correct answer. For example, you will read or use Google Read and Write to read this, then drag the yellow. So you won't have it in present mode. So you will see it when it looks a little bit more like this. Okay, so you can read or use Google Read and Write by highlighting to hear the question. You have two answer choices. So you'll see with the $150, I gave you a picture of money. And to make them free, I gave you a picture of a free African American in the colonies, right? What you'll do is grab this yellow arrow and drag it either to point at this answer or at this answer. Please make it very obvious because sometimes I have people who put it like here. Like that doesn't mean anything to me, right? Okay, recap. All right, so in this section, we discussed when we finally get into the actual Revolutionary War and declare our independence from Britain, right? So what happens is that the Revolutionary War starts, right? There's actual fighting and wars going on now. Both the British and the colonists were having white men fights, but they weren't allowing the African Americans to fight until Great Britain started seeking out enslaved African Americans and telling them, hey, listen, if you fight for our army in the Revolutionary War, then we will free you. You will no longer be a slave, right? So they kind of gave them an offer they couldn't refuse, where a lot of slaves went to go fight for the British in hopes of living through the war and becoming free. All right, so once we decide, okay, it is absolutely time for us to switch to be independent from Britain, Thomas Paine's common sense, right, kind of convinced a lot of the colonists it was time to declare independence. So the Second Continental Congress got together and they wrote the Declaration of Independence, right? What this document was them formally declaring, hey, this isn't just an idea anymore. We are declaring that we want to be independent from you. Here's our plan. The Declaration of Independence that we just talked about was officially signed on July 4th, 1776. That is why we celebrate the 4th of July and have fun and do fireworks every single summer because it's thought of as America's birthday, the day that America officially declared independence from Britain. But the Declaration of Independence didn't necessarily make sure that everybody had the same rights. Okay, so for example, enslaved African Americans were not a group that was given rights under the Declaration of Independence. Right? They were not somebody who was mentioned. They were still considered property as of now, right? They've changed life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, which is a very good step. But as of now, the enslaved African Americans' rights are still not mentioned in the Declaration of Independence. Similarly, women's rights are not outlined in the Declaration of Independence, right? So they did discuss that they want men to be treated equally, but when they discussed men, they did not include enslaved African Americans or women. All right, hopefully this helps you out. Please refer to this if you get stuck on any of the questions in part two.